So one of the fun things about CityCast Las Vegas crew here in Las Vegas is that we live all over the valley. You know, I'm a downtowner, as regular listeners know, but we have two of our staff who are out in the area known as Henderson, the hinterland. And today on CityCast Las Vegas, we're going to talk with producer Layla Muhammad about life in Henderson and the moment in the sun that Henderson seems to be experiencing right now. It's Monday, January 30th, 2023. I'm Dayvid Figler, and this is CityCast Las Vegas. All right, famous Henderson resident Layla Muhammad, welcome to CityCast Las Vegas.
Oh, wow. Famous. Thank you, Dayvid.
The place where you work, CityCast Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So let's just jump into it. Henderson, Layla, it's got a reputation for being a little on the outskirt. I have heard growing up it being called things like Hendertucky or Hooterville. Is that still a fair take on Henderson to maybe call it more of a rural than an urban place?
I think most of Henderson is very much urban. Once you start getting out towards Black Mountain and kind of getting on the 11 freeway, you get farther out towards what some people still call Hendertucky. But most of it is definitely urbanized. I think it got that reputation for being sort of remote when it first started. It first started to house the workers from the magnesium plant during World War II. So I think it was pretty far from the main Las Vegas city center, but definitely it has been a lot more urbanized. We still get that Hendertucky feeling out here sometimes. It's a very white town. We're 60% white compared to Clark County's 40%. So you definitely feel that why we call it Hendertucky, but we're a lot less remote than we used to be.
So why is Henderson happening now? What's going on with Henderson now?
Yeah, there's a lot of development going on in Henderson. We're the second biggest city, and that's not stopping. We're also one of the safest cities in the whole United States, which is why a lot of people, when they tend to move to Las Vegas, they come to Henderson. And we have a lot of development going on Water Street. There's some really fun multi-use complexes being built there. And so I think the growth in Henderson is matching with the growth of overall Las Vegas, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
And we hear a lot about it regarding sports, too. There's a lot of sports talk happening on the Strip with the Golden Knights and the Raiders, but there's sports going on in Henderson, too, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders facility is out in Henderson, so that draws more of the players, more of the business down there. They're thinking about building a complex near their facility. We have 3 of our own small teams. We have the Henderson Silver Knights, our hockey team, the Vegas Night Hawks, which is our football team, and then the NBA G League basketball team. So that kind of creates more of like a camaraderie in our community. We have our own teams to be celebrating and rooting for.
Yeah, and I had heard that rumor that Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, is building the HQ for the WNBA team out there too. So a lot of eyes on Henderson. So Layla, what's your connection to Henderson? What brought you out there?
So my family moved out here so that my sister and I could attend Green Valley High School, but I lived all over the valley. I've lived in Summerlin, I've lived in North Las Vegas, I've lived in Centennial, and then I actually moved back to Henderson because it was just so familiar. All of my friends are here. It's such an easily accessible community. There's so much on every street, it seems like. We have a great mall.
You talking about the Galleria Mall?
Yes, arguably the best indoor mall in Vegas.
Interesting. I think we might get some other contenders coming through the email.
The fashion show does not count, by the way. The fashion show is for tourists. It's on the Strip. But Galleria Mall, best mall for locals.
Okay. I'm gonna drop a little bomb on you.
Okay.
Who's the biggest fan of downtown that you know who works for CityCast Las Vegas?
Obviously Vogue.
Okay. who's lived there their entire life and constantly reminds people that they grew up
Ah, okay,
there, they
okay.
lived there,
All
they've been
right.
there for
Then
22
it's you. Then it's
years.
you, Dayvid.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
There was a 3-year period in the 90s when I lived in Henderson.
Oh my gosh, you cheated on downtown.
Yeah, I lived in Green Valley. I lived on Whitney Ranch Road.
We love Winnie Ranch. I used to live. That's where I lived in high school.
I was a brand new lawyer. I could only afford an apartment. I went looking for one that was close to a freeway so I could get to downtown where most of the
Mm-hmm.
work was. And yeah, I was perfectly happy and comfortable there. I longed to get back to downtown. I do refer to it as my dark period, my blue period,
Mm-hmm.
if for my Picasso reference. But there was like a Borders Books that was right down the street from my house at that time, and
Yep.
that was really nice. And I get it. I get living in the burbs for sure. It's
Yeah,
just not for me.
you proved it though. Like Henderson is very accessible. All of the freeways cross through
Yeah. So
here.
all the love to Green Valley at least. If you were to give someone a tour of Henderson, where would you take them?
Okay. Yeah, it differs in the winter and the summer. So I'll give you the summer because that one's coming up, so people can look forward to that. I like hiking. We have some great outdoor spaces here. We have the wetlands. I go skating there sometimes. Nice for a hike, just walking around. Some greenery that you can see in the desert, which we don't get a lot of. And then there's a great hike at Black Mountain. Not too hard, beautiful hike, great views. That would probably take a few hours in the morning. And then it's the summer, we're hot, we're sweating. We can go to Cowabunga Bay, our water park. Super fun. They have great deals, great facility. And then we would go to the Galleria, my favorite mall, do some
You could
shopping,
take the
get
young
any
person out of the mall, but you can never take the mall out of the young person.
Nope. In high school, that's where we would go. Galleria was our place to go. There's also Green Valley Ranch if you want kind of more of an upscale shopping experience. That's an outdoor mall. And then we would head to Water Street for dinner. My favorite place to go is Hardway 8. Highly recommend. Great food, great drinks.
Okay, let's talk about Water Street because Water Street is sort of I'm going to just say this, and I think I'm not the first. By far, it is kind of as close to you get as a downtown. But take me down Water Street this time because it's been under a lot for a long time. Where are we
Yeah.
stopping along the way on Water Street? What are the highlights besides the Hardway 8 that you mentioned?
Water Street is very small town, old Henderson. You really do get that like, oh, this is a small community vibe on Water Street. So you're not going to get too much traffic down there. Great street to walk down.
They have really narrowed it. I mean, when I drive there,
Yeah.
it is slow go. It's a slow
Yeah,
roll.
exactly. I can't describe it better than that real small town feeling. Like the parades go down the street. It's easy to walk with the parades because it's such a small street.
What else do you see on Water Street?
So you see, like I mentioned, restaurants and bakeries. Hardway 8 is my favorite. Scott recommends
Scott Dickensheets, our news editor.
yes, Scott Dickensheets, longtime Henderson resident, recommends Chef Fleming's Bakery.
Hmm.
That's been open since 2008. So it's a fixture on Water Street. It's one of the places that has outlived the Renaissance, kind of gonna stay there. It's a European style bakery, and Scott recommends the cookies.
Okay. So what else do we have over there? I know there's like brew pubs. It was kind of a push for a bit.
Yeah, there's Lovelady Brewery. It's a craft brewery. Water Street's very proud of their local beers. A lot of the places on Water Street only sell local. And then stepping away from breweries, they have a really cool restaurant called Street Burger. It's 3 stories and it has a beautiful view of the valley on the 3rd floor patio. So that's also a great place to visit. And how many 3-story burger joints do you get?
I mean, barely any.
I know, yeah. And then formerly the El Dorado Casino. Of course, it wouldn't be Las Vegas without a casino. So we have a casino on Water Street. It's now called The Pass, and they have a comedy room and other recreational things like bowling. But that's the walk down Water Street. Nevada State College is down there. So there's a lot going on Water Street, but oddly enough, it still has that like endearing small town vibe once you go down
Yeah,
there.
I mean that's the thing is like despite the hype and some of it deserved, it still has that little small town thing. And there's all these little side streets that I always kind of look at, and I'll see there was a bookstore there, and then a few months later
Hmm.
that bookstore's not there anymore. So there's little businesses that are giving it a run, but they
Yeah, I mean there is a Target across the street, so
yeah.
that kind of squashes some of the small town
And there
elements.
was a pretty popular coffee shop that's been there for a little while now, too, I think. I really haven't made too many trips to Water Street at night. How's it feel? I mean, is it just the beer and the food, or is there more stuff too?
The bars and the restaurants are really the thing to do on Water Street at night.
Mm.
They're great for dates. But somewhere else going off Water Street in Henderson, we also have the booze district. If you're a drinker, that can be fun. The Las Vegas distilleries over there. There's a lot of bars down there, which are really fun to visit. What's interesting is that it's an industrial block that was repurposed to house all of these breweries and bars in the booze district. So it's really easy to do a crawl there, go bar hopping.
I'm going to go a little on the other side here, Layla. Um, is it all good? What's your least favorite thing about
Ah,
Henderson?
oof. My least favorite thing. I mean, it can get expensive to live anywhere. Henderson tends to be on the expensive side. Some people say it's because we're a safe city and we make those lists. But I would say driving down some of the major streets in Henderson, like Stephanie, which is really close to Green Valley High School, and Eastern, which has so many restaurants, the traffic down those streets just get horrendous.
Mm.
So it's really rough to drive through the traffic in Henderson sometimes. Maybe also that while we're a small city, I feel like not a lot of people in Henderson take the time to see what's going on in the city government and get involved in those issues. I feel like maybe we're a little bit more aware of the bigger Las Vegas issues and not Henderson and what's going on in our city.
Yeah, well, Las Vegas certainly does cast a shadow on
Yeah.
everything in the valley. I want to end on this. We talked about and maybe goofed a little bit on the new downtown Las Vegas campaign, Down for Everything or whatever it was, Down for Anything. You love Henderson. I see it in your eyes. I hear it in your voice. If you were to do a campaign and come up with a motto or a slogan for your love of Henderson, what would it be?
Oh man, I'm gonna cop out and use the official slogan of Henderson, a place to call home. I feel
Aw,
like that's
aw.
really accurate. I know, get sappy. I feel like that's pretty accurate for Henderson. I feel like the residents here feel at home and we feel like we're a community. From the sports teams to the places we gather, you really do get that small town community vibe in Henderson more than you get in, say, North Las Vegas or Summerlin. I feel like those places you can feel a bit more siloed. Henderson, people tend to come together more and really create a community and a home.
Well, Layla Muhammad, thank you for sharing your thoughts about the city you love, which is your home. Hopefully, listeners will pop in with I want to hear their mottos, but people who live there, not people who deride it. I don't want to hear from, Henderson's enemies over in Bullhead City, Arizona, or Mesquite, or wherever
uh,
their enemies live. It's been really fun talking about your city with you. I really appreciate you, Layla.
yeah, thanks, David.
Before you go, a few things you should know. North Las Vegas was the first city in Nevada to recognize June 19th as Juneteenth, a holiday commemorating the final acknowledgement of the Emancipation Proclamation. It's not yet a formal paid state holiday, but all that could change. North Las Vegas submitted a proposal designating the third Monday in June as Juneteenth to the 2023 Nevada legislature. If signed by the governor, Nevada will join 21 other states and the federal government who've done the same. And check this out. 5 Vegas chefs and 1 bar were nominated as semifinalists for the prestigious James Beard Awards. If you're not familiar, the Beard Awards are basically the Oscars of the food world, so this is a pretty big deal. Congrats to chefs Oscar Amador, Francesco De Caudo, Caro Azucci, Yip Chung, and Jimmy Lee, as well as downtown wine bar Garrick East. That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, and especially if you're a Henderson resident, let us know what you thought about it. And then tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Talk soon.
All right, Dayvid, take it away.
Wait, I'm the host?
Yes.